Hello, we're Andy, the Maniacal Cinephile, and today we're taking a look at Godzilla Minus One.
Minus One? Is this a prequel?
Sorta. You see, after World War II, Japan was at 0, and then Godzilla shows up, and things go from bad to worse. Or -1.
Shut it! I'm not here to do math!
Godzilla Minus One is the new Kaiju film from Toho Studios in Japan. It is Toho's 33rd Godzilla film and the 37th overall, including the MonsterVerse movies made here in the United States of America.
You're welcome.
In 2016, Toho released Shin Godzilla, a reboot of the series that kickstarted the 4th era of Godzilla movies. The Reiwa era includes Shin Godzilla and a trilogy of anime movies made for Netflix.
Anime? No thanks. I like getting laid.
Evil, a lot of girls are into anime.
Really? Now, what is hentai? Oh my god!
After the success of Shin Godzilla, the co-director, Shinji Higuchi, sorry in advance, I'm going to butcher all of these names. Anyway, Hibachi revealed Toho couldn't produce another Godzilla movie until after 2020, when their contract with Legendary Pictures ended.
I hate when other people play with my toys.
In 2019, after the release of The Great War of Archimedes, Takashi Yamazaki was chosen to write and direct the next Godzilla movie. It took him 3 years to write the screenplay, with the pandemic playing a factor. Or maybe he chicken pecks at the keyboard. He drew inspiration from 2001's Giant Monsters All-Out Attack and the first Godzilla movie from 1954. In fact, Minus One was released in Japan on November 3rd, the same date as the original film, almost 70 years ago.
AKA Godzilla Day. I wonder what he got for his birthday.
I hope it was a couple of Mothra strippers!
So let's see if Godzilla is still king of the monsters. The film opens in 1945 on Odo Island near the end of WWII. We meet kamikaze pilot Koichi Shikishima, who pretends his plane needs some repairs.
I smell bullshit!
Yeah, in other words, he doesn't want to fly his plane into something and blow himself up. Why die when it's clear they've lost?
Like losing a game of mousetrap.
When they don't find anything wrong with his plane, head mechanic Sosaku Tachibana suspects that Shikishima is,
Chicken shit!
Shikishima needs a distraction, and today is his unluckiest lucky day. That night, Godzilla attacks the island. Shikishima runs for his plane, but is too terrified to shoot, resulting in Godzilla killing the mechanics.
Godzilla brought in his Toyota for an oil change, and of course they found other things wrong with it.
The only survivors are Shikishima and the mechanic Tachibana, who calls Shikishima a coward and blames him for his dead friends.
Ooh, try blaming the plane again.
When he returns home to Tokyo, Shikishima suffers from survivor's guilt. While looking at all the rubble, his neighbor cries, "Look at what happened because of cowards like you."
Then some monks gave him an atomic wedgie.
He finds a young woman named Noriko, carrying a baby whose parents died in the Tokyo bombings. They're three complete strangers brought together by fate to form a nuclear family.
No, a nuclear family would be fused together.
Over the next 2 years, puberty hits Godzilla like a bomb.
Literally.
He grows in size and is mutated thanks to nuclear bomb testing at Bikini Atoll.
Nothing offers protection from radiation like a bikini.
Once Godzilla is done playing You Sunk My Battleship with the US, he heads back to Japan. Godzilla decimates Ginza, and Shikishima once again survives at the expense of others, furthering his survivor's guilt.
Death is unaware this guy is using cheat codes.
A clever plan is formed to kill Godzilla, and Shikishima volunteers because he feels like this is all his fault. Will he end the war, raging within himself, and die a hero? Can he be forgiven?
Will we fit this awkward box set on our shelf?
The worldwide anxiety and government unreliability during the pandemic was one of the director's major inspirations for the story. A monster threatens their way of life, causing chaos, and it's time to form a plan, work together, and overcome.
So they can all get back to eating their virgin boy eggs. Look it up. I dare you.
Usually, you watch a Godzilla movie to see Godzilla step on buildings and whoop some kaiju tail. But we loved the plot. It had the perfect blend of drama and action. It was emotional, and the themes and messages were inspiring.
Like when a bottle cap says, "Try again."
Shikishima is a mess throughout the entire movie because his war isn't over. He can't move on until he gets closure. Because he has a death wish, Shikishima gets a job sweeping the ocean for leftover mines.
I'd rather empty a porta potty by sucking on the hose.
He and his crew encounter Godzilla, and the monster chases down their tiny boat.
It's like going water skiing with your overweight mother-in-law.
The director stated that Steven Spielberg's Jaws was an inspiration for the ocean scenes, and it shows.
Godzilla and the crew shared how they got their scars.
It's just one of the many impressive sequences in the film. In the end, we were heavily invested in Shikishima's arc from zero to hero. Then there's the love interest, Noriko. She gets a job in Ginza because it's about time she stands on her own feet, and with her around, Shikishima will never find a wife.
Shikishima, you better put a ring on it.
Fate brought them together, but will they end up together? They start as bunkmates living in a shack. Romantic, I know, but chemistry is brewing. Noriko is the support Shikishima desperately needs.
Hey Noriko, the shack walls aren't going to build themselves.
Then there's little orphan Akiko. Akiko? If you want your audience to care more, always endanger a child. Shikishima has some friends over for dinner, and she adorably calls him Daddy, only for him to remind her that he is not her father. And his friends are like, "Whoa, what the hell, dude? Not cool." Over the course of the film, we'll see if he accepts that he may not be the father, but he is the daddy.
This sounds like a job for Maury Povich.
Then there's the big scaly bastard with the hot breath. The director described his Godzilla as fear itself, and the most terrifying Godzilla yet.
Oh no, I can't read.
Personally, I think Shin Godzilla was more terrifying with the way it was painfully evolving. It was grotesque, horrifying, sad, and somehow beautiful. Shirogumi Incorporated did the visual effects, and they created a spectacular-looking Godzilla. It's modern, but looks more like classic Godzilla than Shin Godzilla did.
Great. Now they're de-aging Godzilla.
When we first see Godzilla, it reminded me of the T-Rex scene from Jurassic Park. However, he soon grows into the skyscraper we know and love. He's a powerful, unstoppable threat, and one of the better, more serious depictions of Godzilla on screen. For once, I really gave a damn about the human characters in a Godzilla movie. I was invested in their struggle and rooted for them. I cared about the human characters in a Godzilla movie!
I even cried at the end. When I dropped my popcorn.
Godzilla Minus One just had the biggest opening for a live-action Japanese movie in America. In Japan alone, the movie grossed $20 million against a reported $15 million budget. That's insane, considering the budget for Legendary Pictures' 2014 Godzilla was $160 million. How? The scope and effects in Godzilla Minus One are pretty on par with Hollywood. I didn't notice a dip in quality.
Who did the CGI? A bunch of kids in a sweatshop?
I'm impressed with how much they've done with so little. The cinematography is gorgeous. There's this great shot where there's an explosion, and I don't know if it was mud or tar, but this black rain falls from the sky as Shikishima lets out a horrible cry during an emotional scene.
I'm pretty sure Godzilla sharded.
Yamazaki's frequent collaborator, Naoki Sato, scored the film. The music is emotional and epic when it needs to be. Of course, the iconic Godzilla theme shows up in the perfect moments to frighten you or get you amped up. So, would I recommend Godzilla Minus One? Yes!
I'd happily be his +1.
Godzilla is taken back to his roots in post-World War II Japan. He is once again the villain and a metaphor for despair. The kaiju scenes are a spectacle, but the story is full of emotional messages and is pleasantly character-driven. I felt for these characters a lot more than I did in the recent American entries. Godzilla is treated less like an action figure and more like the monster he should be. The writing, directing, acting, cinematography, and visual effects were Hollywood level for 1/10 of the budget. Godzilla Minus One isn't only one of the best Godzilla movies, but one of the best movies this year. Godzilla is still king of the monsters. We've been Andy, the Maniacal Cinephile.
Thanks for liking and subscribing.
We'll see you next time.